totally.
This tournament brought to you by Dave Creamer.
Yeah, exactly. It gives you wins.
Can you put that? Can you put that on like a string on a pulley system, and we'll just lower it into the shot every once in a while? All right, Jax and Kale being banned out here, and we do have a guest commentator. Very high level analysis, challenger tier player Dave Creamer. What do you think? What do you think about these bans here?
I don't like the banning purple people.
Okay.
Jax has so many eyes that I don't see why you want to pick him.
Yeah, you should. Same thing with Max.
Right?
Yi,
It's
right?
Yi, right? Yeah, Yi and Jax basically brothers. Something like that. If they can see so much stuff, I want to do it. And Belgar, he looks like the masters of those little magicians that run down the lane.
Yep.
So why would you not pick
No,
that?
it's true. It's true.
Pick guys.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you're on the purple team.
Belgar.
Yeah. And Draven.
Tier 1 champion.
Yeah, tier 1 champion. I know a guy that, his first time playing Draven, just dominated everybody. Yeah, former challenger, but now he's horrible.
They actually have the box playing. Are you familiar with the box?
No, not actually. No.
Okay, so the box, he got really popular. I guess he's the sub. I didn't see him in there before, but he is like Vigar only, like crazy good Vigar player.
Yeah.
Like took over like 9Jackie's role as like best Vigar NA. Like I remember watching Scar stream and he was like, Scar was fanboying over this guy, talking about how good his Vigar is. Yeah, this guy is like insane. So obviously that makes sense that they banned it.
Honestly, Vigar's a ridiculously difficult champion to master. I think he's up there with I don't know, certain champions. Karthus I think is really difficult to be amazing at.
Yeah.
Every champion, and I'll bet there's just like a bunch of like silver players out there just like I main Karthus.
It's it makes a big difference. Like a lot of players, they'll stick with one champion to learn the game. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
If you're playing something like Scion, you can only learn so much.
Yeah.
But Vigar is something that is like that intricate, that difficult of a champion to play. Like it really makes a difference when you're learning the game.
Absolutely. Not only landing like the cage, which is funny that he calls himself the box. I feel like that might be a reference to the. I call it the stun cage, honestly. But not only landing it, but then like knowing the timings. The timings of it to hit your W and where to place your W, because you don't want to just do dead center.
Yeah.
You got to know which way they're going to move immediately after to catch them. But anyways,
Same thing. Like a lot of people, they'll just blow their full. Like if they build TFG, they'll like blow their full combo like TFG all Q W.
Yeah.
But with Vigar, because he has so much burst, a lot of times you don't even need to use TFG. You save it for like later on in the team fight, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, no, there's a lot of intricacies to that champion. I hope that we get to see him play it once this tournament. That's really exciting.
Absolutely. Now for the rest of the picks that we got coming out here, kind of interesting on the Ryze and Jace side of things, although I feel like those are two champions that are fantastic in this level of play for this kind of tournament. High level players, but not necessarily the highest level of fives team tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're not Challenger 5s group teams, but they're definitely Challenger players. Two fantastic champions for that because they fit right in the middle. They're not just solo queue champions, but you know.
Jace has been seeing a little bit more play. I feel like that might be. Zig plays a lot of different positions when he plays these kind of tournaments, but I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure he was a really good Jace player, and he fits really well on a poke comp. And if that's what they're going for, I mean, Italy is up, but oh yeah, okay, so he'll probably interesting then. It looks like they might have an 80 carry Jace then, yeah.
That would be crazy. That would be a lot of fun to watch. Not to mention pairing up with Braum, who kind of slipped through the cracks on this one.
Definitely, yeah. A lot of targeted bans this game, so.
Yeah, actually, I would say even more so targeted bans coming out of blue side than the opposite end, because Kale, Jax, and Cassidy are all just 3 top-tier champions right now, just in general. So maybe a little bit more research being done here by blue side, which, by the way, if I could get some team names, that would be fantastic. I don't know where those are at, but I'm sure we'll get those eventually. But yeah, so another thing that's stepping into this one as well. So Lucy and Thresh, really, really good combo. Terrible combo for lore. Because if you don't know, Thresh, psychopathic murderer, trapped Lucian's wife's soul in his lantern.
Yeah, they have a lot of. They're one of those champions that are like directly lore based. Like they're like enemies directly. Like Vigar or not Vigar. Sorry, Zillion and Volibear, that kind of thing.
Yep. So to have them in the same lane is having them against each other is a little bit more reasonable.
Yeah.
But as a team. You know what I mean? I feel like in their minds, they're just, like, how Pokemon sometimes, if they're too high level, they won't listen to you. I feel like controlling these characters when they're the same lane, it's the same effect. You know what I mean?
That'd be pretty funny.
Yeah.
If you're like going all in for y'all and he just like keeps walking in the tower.
Yeah. But you do have the Orianna and Vi combo, which is really kind of old school. I'd say about 6 months back, but super strong.
Yeah, Vi's still definitely a great champion, especially since they nerfed Flare. She's just come back into popularity. I just remembered something though. Last time I casted a really big tournament was when the Targans just came out.
Yep.
And these guys were playing. It was Zig's team. There was a couple different players, but Doctor and Zig were in the roster, and they were playing bottom. I think they were doing double mage back then.
Yeah.
So it's funny because every time I'm seeing this guy play bottom, he's playing weird stuff like they did like anti-brand combos and stuff like that. Because back then the way it worked was like you could both champions got gold. It didn't matter if you CS. There was no downside to having it.
Yep.
So yeah, it's actually gonna be pretty interesting because with Jace's W, he'll be able to proc the Braum stun really quickly.
Yep.
So that could be kind of what they're going for there.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I just realized that would be a pretty good combo as well with if you did Braum Lucian. I think we've been seeing a bunch of that with his passes.
Yep.
It's absolutely ridiculous as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see how that all works out. Definitely some new stuff coming out here in Karthus. I mean, I was just talking about Karthus, and he is really difficult to master for sure.
Mm-hmm.
To see him coming out in this one, pretty interesting. And you got that Ryze top lane, which kind of comes in and out of the meta.
Yeah.
He's in right now. Apparently, he's in.
It does go back to the what we were talking about a little bit before. I don't know if the stream had caught it, but when we were talking about if the 4VO push would be something we're seeing, or maybe the 2v1, because Ryze does do really well in the 4VO situation because he gets that time to farm up and skip that late game, get his tier charge and everything like that. And the top lane Lulu didn't actually take teleport, so if they're willing to go with that style of play, they could put a pretty big damper on Purple Team for sure. Because teleport's really needed in that situation, otherwise you'll just fall behind. You won't be able to get as much farm and
yeah.
get stuck.
And another thing too with having teleport come out here, OMGI got ganked, really, really high tier player. He's played in a lot of tournaments as well. So every time I see teleport, I always think, if you're carrying teleport, you need to be well versed in fives as opposed to just solo queue. If you're playing in solo queue with teleport, it's such a risk because you're putting yourself at a deficit in the top lane matchup, and you can't be sure that you're ever going to use it with your team.
Yeah.
The positioning might just never happen.
It's the same kind of thing as taking cleanse. If you don't know how to use it, you're better off just not taking it. You know.
For sure. By the way, no ignites coming out here for blue side. Exhausts like crazy. You got to heal in there as well in that teleport. So no ignites whatsoever. I don't think they're going to need it against this team, honestly.
Yeah, the way that Purple Team's comp looks like is that they're going to have a very high damage dealing Vi.
Yeah.
And they're just going to try and rely on Lucian and Vi to put out tons of damage and try and live. That's basically how it is, because they have a lot of great utility, and their late game's pretty strong. It just depends how well that Ryze goes. A lot of it depends on how they decide to approach the early lane phase.
Yeah. By the way, I want to take a step back here and
Sure.
just say that when we were choosing the champions, like the risk picks, I always say Karthus, and I didn't get to say it this time. And now he's in the game. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I would have looked like a genius. Way to go. Way to go. But he really doesn't come out that often, though. Seriously.
I think he got a buff with the visual update, simply because the spells are so hard to see now.
Yeah?
Like the Q, the alt, the wall looks crazy cool. But it's definitely, when you're so used to playing against a champion and then they can just completely change the things that you've learned to rely on to play against it, like where the Q is, like you can read the area that it's gonna hit you, and now it's like weird, looks bigger and everything like that.
Yeah.
It really can change the dynamic of the lane. So
Absolutely. And there are some skins out there too that have that same effect.
Yeah.
Like in particular, I think the one that stands out is that Steel Lux, or
I was gonna say that
Steel
too,
Legion
yeah.
Lux.
Yep.
Yeah, just really OP. One of the ones that nobody agrees with me on is the Frostfire Annie. I think it's so hard to see her stun when she has her stun
Yeah,
ready by
yeah.
comparison.
yeah.
Anyways. Oh, and Triumphant Rise, this guy coming out.
Oh.
So I was just talking about how this guy plays in a lot of tournaments.
That's
and
awesome.
busts out the
That's really cool.
only skin that you can get or the skin that you can only get from winning a tournament.
Do you have one?
I do.
I don't. I'm working on
Yeah.
it. I'm working on it.
I got one in the bank.
Sweet, man. That's really cool.
Now the only challenger border from last season is this Debonair Jace guy.
Yep.
Scary stuff, man. I mean, but everybody here is playing at the top level. Everybody's got at least a diamond border, except for Lee Sin. They pulled this guy actually off the street. They literally just found him and they were like, "You want to play in this tournament?"
Well, that's the thing. These guys, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure at least 4 out of 5 of these guys played in the tournament that I casted last time I saw it. And these guys got some really, really good team play. So I'm excited to see how Purple Team's able to handle, because they've got really big names on their team, right? The Box, they've got First Time Draven. This could be a great, great game. Doctor was a challenger player last season as well. I don't know if he had the border, but...
One of the things, by the way, that we haven't really pointed out is the fact that Lulu is probably going to be top lane here.
Yeah.
And she's going to be heading up against the Rise. So in your eyes, how do you see that matchup going?
She's going to push him really hard, I think. And if it's a 1v1, she's going to push him really hard. And Rise will wind up getting his tier, basing, TPing back to lane, and that's probably just going to wind up being a farm lane, honestly. Lulu does have a bit of advantage, but of course Rise scales way harder than she does, so...
Yeah, definitely. Now, is she going to be building any different than you'd see in mid lane or support?
No, it's pretty much the exact same build as mid lane. She's going against an AP as well, so same kind of Chalice Rust build, maybe an early Lich Bane. But a lot of this game, like I was saying, it really does depend, because now that they see that Lulu doesn't have TP, they gotta make her pay for that, honestly. They need to either 1v2 her or 4v0, or if they just go directly into lane, the Rise will have a hard time against that early, because the Ignite does make a pretty big difference, and Lulu is such a strong early game champion.
Alright, and we do have some team names here for you guys as well. It's going to be Zolg. I'm pretty sure that's an acronym for something, but I'm just going to keep it as that. Versus Fifth, which we're hoping that's not the place that they finish in this tournament, because they do have some high-level players. So good stuff. Going to be starting out with a pause. As always, a good way to go.
Yep.
Also, I just want to point out, don't mind the artwork that we have right here and right here. We're going to be burning that, actually, midway through the tournament.
Yeah, Team Liquid's got some good
Team Liquid
content.
supports you.
Oh, Team Liquid does now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, they do. All right, so we're just going to be burning this one right here. That poster right there. We put a work order in for that to be done before we got here. Unfortunately, you know.
Don't get mad at us for creating esports.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Alright, we're back in.
Jesus.
Let's do it.
All right, so we're going to be going into this one now. It looks like everybody's starting up pretty well grouped up here, but ping's going down from both sides, so you can see the invade pattern coming from red just based on those pings, and the defensive pattern that's going to be coming out here for Zolg.
Yeah, what I think they're going to try and wind up doing is scouting what lane is going to drop the ward to get, scouting what lane the ward happens in. Simply because if they can get the 1v1, like I was saying before, they will have a ton of advantage. Looks like they aren't going to be brave enough to go for the full invade.
30 seconds.
But they're staying
until
groups,
minions
dropping some
spawn.
wards, and blue side looks like they've got some great ward coverage, and they just want to play it safe. Pretty standard item starts for everyone. Braum taking Targons, Thresh going for an early coin. That might be to counter the Jace engage, because obviously he does have a lot of utility with his gate. I'm really excited to see how this bottom lane goes. The Braum Jace lane.
Yeah, and it's going to be a coin versus the Targons start out here.
Minions
So
have spawned.
obviously, you know, you got that melee champion with Braum, and he's going to be in there getting... he's super tanky to start things off with his kit as well. So he can get in there, throw up that shield if he needs to, and really put that Targons to use. Not to mention the heal that comes out of that thing. So they went... Obviously, when it first came out, it was just...
Yeah.
It changed the entire game.
Yeah, it did.
We may as well have been playing Dota at that point. That's how ridiculous this game was.
Is this working?
Okay, so it does look like we're going to see the 1v1.
Yeah, and it's, you know, we were talking about that 4-0 situation and that not coming out here. Did you honestly expect that to be the case here? Coming into this, I thought it was probably going to come out potentially, but
Yeah.
first game might be a feeler game.
It's just so different than the way teams normally play. You know what I mean? Like it's a thing that happens in the highest level of play, and yeah, It's so hard to say, man. You can't really tell. It depends on the comfortability that the comfort that the teams have in playing that kind of style, and it's definitely worth it if you can pull it off. But you need a lot of practice. You need to know what you're doing, absolutely. So maybe later on in the tournament, but you're right. I think first game they're just gonna try and feel it out.
Yeah, great exchange here, by the way, from Lulu, hitting that level 2, and that's when you know you've got top level players. And same thing in the bottom lane. As soon as that level 2 hits, you just snap onto your opponent. You can tell the pushing going down here. That's what they're lining up, was that level 2 engage, and they positioned exactly for it. Here we go with a nice hook. Just some damage exchange, though.
Yeah, that is the advantage that Lulu does have over Rise. She has way better push. She's able to harass him while also pushing the wave, so that's the matchup. It's going to be rough for Rise early. He just needs to get his tier, and then, yeah.
Absolutely. So we're going to see these guys continue on here, and you called it exactly right for that Rise. Unfortunately, he doesn't have enough to grab tier, so he's forced back really early, exactly like you called.
That's really bad. That's really bad for Rise. He does need to get that tier because he needs to start stacking it right away, you know? And now that he doesn't have TP, he's going to wind up losing a whole bunch of farm for that. So really, really good job by the Lulu, taking advantage of that summoner disparity.
Absolutely. So now everything kind of normalized here. You've got the level advantage has gone to the wayside. We don't have to worry so much about that. And by the way, I am super impressed with this Jace Braum combo. They are at full health here despite, you know, after you lose that level 2 advantage that early on, typically you take a lot of damage. But full HP for these guys, only, you know, half HP for Jace, which kind of sucks for right now. But we'll see him probably start to charge that up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, nice engage happening onto X-Silas. Oh, and the EQ combo misses. That would have definitely put Thresh in a really bad spot. He would have been down to about 200 HP, but it whiffs.
Yeah.
Brutal.
This lane is going to be pretty interesting because we need to see how Jace goes. If he goes for an early tier, he will lose some lane presence. Obviously, you don't get a snuff. Like, if you're going a BF sword against the tier, obviously. Looks like Doctor's setting up for the gank.
Here we go. And Doctor chasing on here. He lands that Q, but not enough. He could have just auto-attacked before the heal came out, and that would have been enough. Does not dedicate there, and Thresh will survive this one. And a little bit slow, I gotta say, on the reaction timing for that heal to come out. He could have guaranteed the survive, but instead takes a little risk. Pays off anyways.
I'm not sure. Oh, wow, that was close. Yeah, I'm not sure if he knew that the damage wasn't going to be there and he was holding onto the tier and trying to bait a dive, but that was cutting it close for sure.
Yeah, now Lulu up in this top lane here. Some crazy action happening. Polymorph Ignite comes out as well, and first blood's going to go to Lulu in that top lane, that isolated lane. Ignite comes out onto Mr. Jiggly as well. DeBox gets exhausted here. I think that was a little bit too dedicated there. Didn't have to throw that out, but in the end, both aggressive summoners down in that mid lane, and still more action happening here. In comes Vi. Nice flash from Normalize, and they will get away from this one. Top tier mechanics coming out, but across the board, like, all the summoners are down here. You got 3 flashes still up on red side, and then on the opposite end, like a flash and a half. In comes the hook again, though. X-Silas gets dropped, though. Not the best hook there. Normalize steps forward there, gets that shield up. Is he going to die? It looks like no. Beautiful blocking being done. Flashing forward. First time Draven picks up the kill onto Braum, but goes super, super low here. Signature gets that kill, flashes away. Amazing exchanges, and it's going to be a 2 for 2 in the end in that bottom lane. Unreal exchanging. These guys on top of their mechanics here.
I bet he wishes he has that heal now.
Yeah. Should have saved it. Should have saved it.
Vi goes in with the flash!
Oh, too real.
Nice play.
And Doctor's going to come alongside here. Flashes forward with the Q and the E. Oh my god, the action just non-stop here in this game. 1 kill a minute across the board, and we're only at the 6-minute mark here, Husky.
It is a tight game. It's 3-3, and the lanes are kind of playing out, apart from bottom lane, obviously, the lanes are playing out the way you'd expect it. Obviously, red side does have some advantage in the early lanes. Obviously, Orianna being able to push, Lulu being able to push. It's pretty much still dead even. We got to see what happens. I think the big tell of this game is going to be the rotations around towers and the first dragon fight, because it looks like both these teams are bloodthirsty.
Yeah, they are. I mean, especially Lulu up in this top lane, going so hard here, but in comes Orianna for the gank. I really doubt Rise is going to be able to get away from this one, but he tries to exchange. In the end, it will be for naught here, as what the crew, I don't even know how to pronounce that, but Lulu, anyways, in the end, with that defensive ultimate, really well played.
The Rise is having a lot of trouble now. Look at his build. He went double Sapphire Crystal.
Yeah, not so good. Normalize, and anyways, in this bottom lane here, is going to go hard onto X-Silas, but he gets knocked back after the stun. So that knockback actually stunned him at the same time. It completes in though. Huge Q. Is he going to survive? Docta will walk away with that one, but no! First time Draven with the Q return is going to pick up that kill, and he goes so low here. Picks up 10 gold from that ward that Lee Sin used to jump to. The mechanics so real in these games, and I can only expect it to continue here. These guys, we keep saying it, just so top tier.
That was a great play by Lucian. Really good way to pick up that kill. That was a really good just understanding of the character, knows what he can do, and pulls it off.
And now we've got Orianna coming over, going to be picking up that blue buff. Are we going to have time to breathe here in the next little bit, as we are now more than a kill a minute, 9 kills at the 8-minute mark. These guys at each other's throats and normalize. See, this to me might be one of the most impressive things all game. The fact that he knew that pink ward was going to be there and just used his knowledge of support play for that time and goes off.
Yeah, that's great map ward for sure. I'm loving it though. What a great way to start the day.
Yeah.
Crazy game. Just jumping right in.
By the way, on everybody's mind right now has got to be that dragon. Going into this one, who do you think actually has the advantage in terms of positioning?
Honestly, the Karthus ult isn't going to do enough damage yet to really make that big of a difference in the team fight, and their comp isn't that much of a kite comp. I mean, they've got a couple things to, with the wall and everything like that, and the chase gate. So if I can get like a really good initiation and kind of like wipe out the Karthus before he's able to put a lot of damage down, or even the Jace, they're going to have a lot of trouble in the team fight, and it's going to be a lot based on just initiation from Vi. If she can lock out that one champion and get like a really good Orianna combo with her, they'll take it no problem. The other team will just be forced to back out. So.
Yeah, with how fast-paced this game is going, it feels like they should be like level 10 across the board right now, but still at those pretty low levels. But like you said, Orianna, she's obviously past level 6 at this point, as is the Vi. So we could see that combo come out in a really early team fight. Lee Sin was spotted up in the top lane. Now there's an opportunity. Lee Sin's heading bot. Vi is top. They haven't seen her yet, but Rise actually just placed a ward in that brush, so we'll see if they actually move out there. And here we go up in that top lane. Vi gets right on top of OMG. I got ganked, and he actually does get ganked, fittingly enough.
He still doesn't have a tier, man.
Yeah, and down goes Exilis. Brutal, brutal stuff there. And lots of kills happening across the board right now. I still think, though, Dragon has got to be on these guys' mind. That's a kill in the bottom lane. Lee Sin's there. Karthus is there. Yeah. Why not go for that?
They're definitely going to go for a dive here, and then they're going to try and rotate the Dragon. Let's see if they can, if Lucian can make something happen. He has no summoners. He has no ult, so looks like he's probably dead.
I think he's going to start off with the ultimate here. Q lands. Tanking the turret is Signature. Not the best guy to tank it, but he will get away no problem. Beautiful dive. You called it just right. Now, are we going to see them go for Dragon here? Orianna and Vi coming down.
Yeah, it looks like they're rotating. They want to try and stop the snowball from continuing. They really need to pressure these guys and punish them for that dive.
Yeah, and here we go, though, with the fight to box in rough position here. Ultimate goes across from Orianna, but it's only going to hit creeps there. Meanwhile, White, though, dropped as well. Double kill for Jace, and he's going to work his way up to 5-1-2. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that bottom lane is really just carrying. Look at that tower. That's exactly what I was talking about. That Lulu has so much advantage in that lane. The early ignite, the early kill she got pretty much just completely won the lane for her.
Yeah, and she's going hard here with that those auto attacks. Really, really strong stuff there. And the Dragon goes down. You know what? I would take a Dragon for a Rise any day.
Absolutely. That honestly, it goes back to the way that they played out the lanes. I mean, granted, bottom lane is doing very well. However, Rise is in so much trouble. I just can't state that enough. 11 minutes, 30 seconds, he still doesn't have a tier.
Yeah, and he's floating around 0-4-0 right now.
He might actually just not be going for it at all. He opts to build the Glacial Shroud. So maybe he just doesn't think it's worth it. Maybe it's a new Rise build, something like that. But 0-4, regardless, he's still having a hard time.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and say, OMG, I got ganked. What is he, Challenger tier? Hey, he's building this Rise wrong. Am I allowed to say that?
Well, that's the thing. You know that he went for the early Catalyst because he was having so much trouble. But it looks like he's coming bottom, going for the gank.
Here we go, and he's going to start things out right. Signature, another kill going over to Jace here. Meanwhile, Docta getting jumped on here, Vi with that perfect combo, and the Q misses. But return with the ultimate, really not the best choice though. She's going to get stunned up, locked down, and oh, she flashed over the wall, but the Q hits from Docta the second time around. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And is the fight going to continue here? Docta, we got the ball being thrown out here by Oriana in literally a spot that would have hit nobody.
Wow.
But starting the fight off here, Braum lands that ultimate. The box goes down here. Lulu getting kicked into the team again. And Mr. Jiggly now actually in the middle of things here. Moves his way up to 1-0-1. Hasn't really seen a lot of action.
Really great initiation and map control by blue team. They're just taking the advantage.
Oh, God. What a taunt. As Signature waits for the red buff to kill his opponent, but he's going to have to be forced to fire off that last shot. Vi comes in, though, a little bit too cocky. I think Jace is going to go down. Meanwhile, mid lane getting pushed in here. Is Vi actually not going to get this kill? Uh-oh. Oh, and Braum, so good. Puts up that wall. He's going to be in there, and he actually shields himself for some extra damage here when that pops. Continuing the fight. White, though, getting wiped out, though, possibly in the next couple of seconds here. Q lands. And Normalized tanking so many turret shots.
You know you're in a bad spot when your support can 1v1 your jungler.
Yeah, that feels bad.
Yeah.
Bad feeling. First time Draven comes in, and so much. Is that even fair? He just blocked the whole culling there. The box gets cut out here as well, and these guys just, again, they're at each other's throats. Not enough damage being done, but Karthus ultimate. Oh, it's not going to be enough. My God, can these guys slow down here? Musky, Jesus.
Docta with the plays.
Oh my God.
Yeah, honestly, I hate to call it so early, but I really do think that this game is over. Even though Rise is that far behind, the way that the bottom lane has snowballed, unless Red Team is able to make some sort of aggressive play to get back control, they're just going to get...
Oh.
Look at that. Zig is just going crazy. Already has a Last Whisper, Brutalizer, and BF Sword.
I think that might be a good time to use our replay function.
You want to see that? You want to see him get obliterated?
Absolutely. If we can pull that up, that would be amazing. If not, you know what? I completely understand. I know it's tough.
He didn't even get a chance to ult. He just evaporated.
Yeah. That's why I want to watch it again.
But yeah, like, the way the bot lane snowballed, that's crazy. I didn't expect that from that lane. Thresh Lucian is such a safe lane. There was just so much attention down there. The Vi was forced to kind of make some pressure on the mid lane.
Yeah, and she was. And definitely didn't do as good as she could have, but beautiful ultimate from Vi. Actually stopping the Q from landing and hammer form. And is Braum going to hold it down here again? Signature finally dies with the command attack into command dissonance. But Normalized, we've seen this guy, the 1v2 support here. He doesn't have his shield available. Not that it would work against the ball anyways. But it's going to be a double kill for Oriana. Is she going to be able to turn things around here? Lee Sin fires out that Q a little bit preemptively, and Mr. Jiggly now on this Karthus with the blue buff steps in and decides that dying is going to be the best way to go here. As the box, though, super low, drops here as well, and Lulu, after being evaporated, comes back in the lane and repeats the same situation.
Yeah. Zig living in these situations is just so hilarious. He's just so strong.
Yeah. So we're gonna take a look at that replay now.
Awesome.
All right, and here we go. Up in the top lane, we can see Lulu here, deciding that she's CSing. She's a happy little Yordle, and perfect.
She does have ult. She just can't use it in time.
Beautiful, beautiful spot for a replay, I'd say.
Thanks for that, Observer. That was fantastic. Okay, so, I mean, the goal difference isn't that big. It's just the way that they're able to skirmish right now. They have such, like, the thing with Jace is late game, he won't be as strong as someone with Lucian or Scales, but if they're able to do things like this and just get pretty much completely free Barons at 15 minutes into the game, you know, there's not much you can do to get back. Map control plays such an important part in games at this level that they'll just starve you out.
Yeah, and here we go. Silas probably not going to live here. He does get snared up. Lee Sin with the ward hop. Going a little bit overkill with his mechanics there. Didn't necessarily need all that. And that's why I hate Lee Sin players. They do so much unnecessary bull. I hate him.
It's the champion you play when you just feel like going hard, you know? You gotta make plays. You gotta just be great. Like,
Yeah.
he's going to go in this queue. He's got it.
Here we go.
See?
Oh.
He tried to make it happen. I knew what he was going for.
Yeah, and do you see what I mean by unnecessarily bold? There's 2 wards there, and he places another one to drop to it. Look at that vision there. 100% Lee Sin.
He was trying to kick him through the wall, but it was too
Oh
big.
my, and he goes hard again. And this, again, is why I don't like Lee Sin.
Doctor going hard, man. I think they're just having a little bit of fun right now.
Yeah.
There is going to be another game. We'll see if Red Team is able to kind of make a little bit different map movements if they can. Like, the thing about this game right now is just the bottom lane snowballed so hard, and there's not much they can do about it, unfortunately. Even though they're top lane 1, they're going to try and force a dragon against a team that has Baron. At
Yeah.
18 minutes, you know? Even though the Lee Sin's down, he's got boot spot, or he's got home guards. He'll be back there soon, and they're probably going to want to fight.
I think, honestly, this is blue team's fight to win if they can pull this one out. But no, OMG Agate Gank goes down first. Exhaust onto Karthus. Really smart timing, but he dies in an excellent spot. Here comes the ultimate. I see a turnaround coming. Signature picks up a kill for himself. Actually, Braum gets that one. Finally, though, Thresh goes down, and what a turnaround. I called that one a little bit early, but definitely there is way too much damage coming out of Jace right now. He's 12-2 and 6 with 117 CS. Look at his build right now.
Yeah.
BF Sword, Brutalizer, and he's already got a Last Whisperer for himself. Poor Lulu here. She's going to die, flashes under turret, but it's not going to be enough.
That was a really good play by Rise. He knew he was behind, and the way that he positioned, even though he's so squishy, he was able to eat a lot of abilities from Red Team. He was able to eat a couple ults, and that just let them turn around and allowed Zig to just go as hard as he wanted to with Docta and clean up that fight. I mean, you get so many stats from a Baron buff in 14 minutes that, oh, they do land the hook.
Beautiful stuff from Docta. Really, really nice hook coming out there. But, of course, the ward hop. Lee Sin gets away from that, but he Q's over the wall here. Nicely done by Vi, kind of dragging him out there. OMG, I got Gank comes in here with the teleport. A couple of characters are low, Thresh and Vi, super low at this point. Signature, not a whole lot of mana, but he does have that Baron buff for himself. Vi over the wall, and Braum, the MVP every time, comes in there, turns things around for a double kill for Signature at 14, 3, and 6. Braum, what an absolute man.
Scumbag Orianna gets the Ignite down as she is dying.
Yeah.
She should have just let him live, man. That would have been the 3rd time he makes some crazy escape. He's got his BT now. He'll be able to lifesteal from that situation this time. It's not the new BT yet. We haven't got the shield on it, so...
And he insects Lulu back into the team here, but by the looks of things, that's not where Rise wanted her to be, as he takes an absolute beating here. And the culling, of course, you got a giant goblin door, may as well use it, you know?
So the way that this game is going right now isn't quite as I expected. It's not as strategically impressive as we might expect from teams at this level. Honestly, they're just running at each other. They're just fighting. They're just forcing every opportunity that they can to fight. And it's because they won their lane so hard. So we'll see if it is just because of the first game, but this kind of bloodshed, like, I mean, at 20 minutes, look how many kills there are. It's insane.
Yeah, it is absolutely ridiculous, and of course we've been pointing it out, but the majority of those onto Jace, and then 10 for Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Karthus really not being that KS champion that we know him to be.
Yeah.
Only walking around 2, 2, and 8. So.
Yeah. He does kind of fill his role with dropping the wall and allowing Jace to go in as hard as he wants. But, I mean, there still is the opportunity for Blue Team to kind of throw because they are being so aggressive. They are fighting like dragon fights, 4v5, that kind of thing. There is still the potential. They're not down that much. I mean, it's not quite the 15k gold lead, but at 20 minutes, 7-8k is a lot. So
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. So, Rise just deciding to clear. I think this is honestly the longest time since minute 1 that we've gone without a fight.
there's been so many things that I wanted to say, I just haven't had an opportunity to.
Yeah, it's nasty.
I'm amazed you can still, you haven't needed to take a break. You're just going on and on, all these fights going in.
Yeah, you know, that's what I do.
Yeah, it's impressive.
Okay, so let's take a look at the items here. If you want to run down some analysis, is there anything that stands out here?
I mean, it's all pretty typical builds. The thing that stands out is just how far behind Red Team is. First time Draven, only really just starting on his Triforce now, where Jace has every item he could ever want. The only thing is he doesn't have tiers, so not quite able to put up like the poke like you might expect from a Jace, but able to put out the damage and sustain fights, absolutely.
Yeah. And you can see him there poking under turret. He sent 3 people home with his last EQ combo.
He hits hard.
That's a little bit tough, but in goes Vi with the Orianna ultimate to follow it up. Is this fight actually going to go red side's way? White, though, right on the front line. Nice pop-up, and definitely not going to go the red side's way as Fifth getting dropped here. Orianna and Vi going down. They started things off, I think, kind of the right way, but the Orianna ultimate only hitting one character. Not going to be good enough here. Now Lucian on the run. Sonic Coconut goes out, completely misses. And that's going to be a free inhibitor with that EQ combo again. Signature just sending fools home at this point.
Yeah.
I like it.
Honestly, Red Team did have a pretty good comp, but when you fall that far behind, and like I was saying, you're relying on a Vi and a Lucian to do damage. I mean, Orianna, obviously, she did well on lane, but what else do you expect against Karthus, you know? It's just they can't do what they need to now that they're this far behind. Their comp relied way too much on Lucian and Vi to do damage. And if you look at Blue Team's comp, they have so much control that they're able to just peel for the short range AD carry in Jace. So even though it is kind of a risky pick, they're able to make the most of it. And if he's able to stomp lane the way that he did, I wouldn't be surprised if this is maybe the kind of pick that we see the rest of the tournament.
Yeah, it definitely could go that way. Now, talking about ward coverage here, we see a lot of wards on the enemy, on the red team's blue buff side, as well as in their own base. A lot of those are useless from Lee Sin to just jump to.
Yeah.
Because outside of him, you know, there's nobody really else that can use those wards. But realistically, tons of vision control.
Yeah. Red Team's trying to get some control. They're grasping at straws. They're trying to, you know, dropping those pink wards. They just want to know when the dive is coming, you know?
Look at, okay, see that Lulu health?
Yeah.
1 EQ, that's it. That's brutal. So we're going to be seeing some positioning now happening over this Baron area.
Yeah, they want to force a fight.
Baron number 2, by the way, at 24 minutes.
Yeah.
Nasty. Uh-oh, here we go. Sonic Coconut lands, and we're going to be seeing him lead in with the slows, but he gets slowed himself with the exhaust. Is it going to be enough? Braum jumps forward with the ultimate. Huge pop-up, but he gets caught under tower here, and nobody wants to go hard. EQ from Jace, who kind of scumbags it and sits a little bit too far on the outskirts here. I feel like he could have gone a little bit harder there with the hammer mode. Lulu now fighting it out with OMG, I got ganked. Still throws out the E, and the E bounces are going to be enough here from Rise, but he's going to get dropped by Vi. Or is he? Yes, he is, finally in the end with that last E from Vi. Hook goes out, trying to catch Signature, who just melts the Orianna. Jumping forward in hammer mode. It's got that W proc as well. Is it going to be enough? No. Doctor gets in there and gets himself out. As it stands now, only a 2 for 2, and you've got the base to heal yourself, so I feel like Fifth might have an opportunity to turn things around, but not with those EQs landing. Oh my god, so much damage. Sends him home immediately. Doctor peels off that last turret, and they're just going to run away from this one. Not as one-sided as I expected.
That Jace is doing Bane damage, man. He's crazy. They're going to pick up some buffs. They're going to go base. They don't want to throw that hard, but this game's pretty much sealed.
And they're going to pick up this blue buff as well. Stealing everything you possibly can, as well as the wolves. Always feels bad when you're losing, and then you're just like, oh wait, we have an opportunity to farm our God. No, not even the wolves. Couldn't even leave the wolves, guys.
You see the Lucian, leave me alone. Yep. Yep. That's pretty much the story of this game.
Honestly.
Leave him alone.
It's ridiculous. Alright, so let's take a look at the items here. Frozen Heart, of course, and the Rod of Ages for Rise. Rise further behind in his build than he would like to be, but those Bloodthirsters, though, for Jace.
Yeah, the Rise did a really good job, even though he had such a tough time in lane. He itemized properly to still be relative to his team. You don't need to build damage when your AD carry is that strong, so he just kind of goes for a CDR kind of control build to help peel for his AD carry, and it's good adaptation by him. It's double Bloodthirster is my favorite.
Okay, now when you've got your support holding off the whole enemy team, not the best. Yeah. Not the best spot to be. And the enemy team will run away from this one. They do spot out that the enemy team has, that blue side has Baron buff right now. And Vi leading the charge here. I really disagree with that. Orion Ultimate catches 2 characters, but 2 characters go down, interestingly enough, for her own team. OMG, I got ganked is going to just stand behind Signature, who tanks the culling. No big deal. Triple kill for him, and he's going to be moving forward, possibly catching out White, though, and boom! That ping pong setup, throwing around Vi here, and that's going to be a full-blown ace. Lulu steps out here, and that's going to be the game
Yeah,
in
well,
favor of
that
Soul.
was pretty much the Zig and Doctor story. Those guys are not messing around. They want these. They want that prize money, man.
Yeah, they are fighting their way up here. By the way, we haven't really talked about that. What are these guys playing for today?
I believe the prize pool. I don't know if it's first place gets $700 or if it's prize pool is $700. Okay, so ain't nothing to laugh at.
No, it's definitely not. And especially considering some of the players here are relatively younger.
Yeah.
You know, what is that? 350 for first place?
420.
Is it actually 420?
420.
420 all day, every day.
Esports Canada. They know how to party.
Repping the